right, welcome back to the Weather Authority Weekday Show. I'm meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Joining me today is reporter Caleb Yauger. And you know what, Caleb? You're from Pittsburgh.
Yes,
so you know cold.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got to say too, when you were asking for audience participation, you realized I was in the room too. I kind of helped you out there. Yeah, you know, no, it's fine.
Okay.
No hard feelings. But anyway, yes, I am from Pittsburgh. We're used to the cold temperatures. You know, last time I went home was like second week of December. It was in the teens.
Yeah,
you know, it's
good
like
times.
that. It was like kind of refreshing a little bit. Like you miss the snow, but then you know, a week of it is enough. And you come back here and you're like, oh wow, we live in such a nice climate.
We
but,
do.
Yeah, my aunt actually lives in North Dakota. I was chatting with her today, and she's in the negatives.
As the Fahrenheit, as you know, that's their temperature.
Yeah.
It's not a wind chill. I mean, add some wind into that, and
I saw it was like -15.
Yeah, that's bad. So, and that's just the beginning of that front that's dropping down that we were just talking about. So, we last year, you weren't here with us, but you've learned a lot about the Arctic blast that came through this time last year. Actually happened, here's some video. It happened on January 19th through the 22nd last year through the panhandle of Florida. And we actually had snow on the beaches of Destin. Pensacola had snow. I mean, some crazy numbers. Actually, Caitlin, I have a great graphic if you want to pull that up too, of some of the historic January 2025 numbers. From Sunday, January 19th, record low temperatures, but the Florida snow 10 inches in Pensacola. I mean, like, unheard of.
I didn't even realize it was that much.
It shut down the I-10 from like the Florida-Alabama line all the way to exit 192, which is kind of like Crestview area in there, through Okaloosa County, Santa Rosa County, Escambia County, all through the Panhandle, which you never associate the Panhandle with snow.
No.
Especially Destin. And we had pictures of people in Destin with snow on the beach, building snowmans.
That is
I mean, not with
wild.
sand, but with snow.
Never thought it would happen.
Super crazy. Meanwhile, while they were getting 10 inches there, Waycross in Georgia had 4 inches of snow, which, again, unheard of. And you actually got to experience that when this weekend when we were forecasting that there could be the tiniest opportunity for snow flurries to come into southeast Georgia. Caleb and Ben, the photographer, went to Waycross on our Sunday morning show, and you didn't see any snow.
Hey, we took a chance, and it didn't pan out, but you know, maybe it's maybe a good or bad thing about snow and inconveniences. But you know, going up there, I got a kind of a layout of the town of Waycross in general. But seeing what the footage looked like from last year, and even down over in Brunswick, right?
Yeah.
The icy roads, and people were sliding. People were making snowballs and throwing at each other, making snow angels.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was we went to a place that we visited last year. Eric Avenier did a report about it, and we visited Taylor Pools. It's the local business there in Waycross, and the snow actually made the building collapse. And the footage from last year just shows like,
we
wow,
have
this
that,
thing.
don't we, Caitlin?
Yeah, it was.
No, we don't.
No,
Okay, it's on our website. If you go and search Waycross snow, you'll see Eric's video from last year, and you'll also see Caleb's story from this year. So you were there. I mean, was it still? Had they rebuilt?
For the most part, yes. They did have some construction equipment like in the front from what I saw. They were closed on Sunday. But from what I saw is they did have signs that said, hey, we're still open, just use the side entrance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least the business is open and they're still serving the community, doing what they do with the pools. But, you know, it just shows you that this is a year ago, and they're still trying to build and recover from that inclement weather last year.
And that's in our backyard. I mean, that's like right here in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. And that's the effects that snow can have in an area that's not used to having snow. And I mean, there was some snow that did occur on Sunday in the Panhandle, yet again, almost exactly a year later. And we had video from some of our traffic cams that showed just a dusting.
A dusting?
Yeah, I mean,
stayed a little bit, stayed on the road for a little bit, but then just melted
It melted
quickly.
right away on the roads. The grass had some in the shade, and then melted right away.
Sure.
But for a Pittsburgh guy, I mean, it's pretty much like a snowy Florida. Were you ever expecting that?
Well, if you would have told me, Caleb, you're going to be covering snow when you get to Florida. I would have been like, you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely crazy.
Well, here's some fun facts, though. So the coldest ever day. Oh, here's some video from Denver.
I found it.
Awesome.
This is last year.
Oh, this is last year.
See, that's the bit. That's right.
Yeah.
See the hot tub? Yeah.
That's Taylor Poole. We
Taylor
got it.
Poole's, yeah.
Caitlin, you're amazing.
You can just see behind Eric there how much damage it did. It literally collapsed the roof. And, you know, compared to what it was last year, it's made significant progress. But again, they're still trying to build at least that front part of it.
Yeah.
The side entrance is open, like I said. But and that see the shot there with the car. They got stuck at an intersection. It was a couple people in that car, and the car rode so low to the ground that the front bumper tore off.
Whoa.
And Eric talked to them, and then they got it done. And then watch this. They start swerving and sliding.
That's dangerous, folks. We don't recommend.
Hey, if you got a all-wheel drive and tires, I've done that before.
That's awesome. Well, and that's just a really good example of snow in an area that's not used to getting snow. 4 inches caused that roof to collapse. I mean,
Yeah, 4 inches.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it. That's all it took.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Caitlin, for getting that video up. That's awesome. You can find that online at News4JAX.com too, I think. But the coldest day ever in Jacksonville actually was yesterday, the 21st from 1985. So do the math, 41 years ago. Whoever was born in 1985, I just aged you. So 41 years ago, the temperature was 7 degrees. So
Wow.
Coldest day in Jacksonville history right there. Now the coldest day in 2025 this wasn't even during that snow. It was before that. It was January 12th. It was 27 degrees. Because when you're 27, it's not gonna snow that much. So the Waycross snow, it was a little warmer. But we actually tied a record low on January 16th, the Friday before you went to Waycross last Sunday. It was 22 degrees. So we've had already the coldest day of the year in Jacksonville was this past Friday, January 16th. So
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
7 degrees in 1985. I was kind of thinking about it. I saw somewhere that Miami's record low was in the 30s, I think. And I was like, can you imagine just going 30 as a record low?
Yeah,
Like 31 or
in
whatever
Miami.
it was. In Miami.
Right?
That's crazy. But in the single digits, I never thought like this area could reach that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Pretty crazy
that's really
stuff.
cool. You learn something new every day.
You do. Well,
You
thank
know?
you for joining me. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And maybe if it does snow, it's not going to happen this weekend either. Just so you know, you will not be going to Waycross on Sunday. If it does happen, maybe you get to go and actually experience some snow in Southeast Georgia, Northeast Florida.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. So, Caitlin, I know we also have some video from some of this weather that we're currently watching. If we want to show some of that, you're good.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, you can. You can watch this too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's see. You got any?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, cool. Does it have audio?
Not this
Okay.
one.
All right, cool.
It's the airport in Atlanta.
Okay, this is the Atlanta airport. I think they're really just kind of showing that they're preparing for some large crowds. And I know actually Caleb was telling me earlier he does have a flight through Atlanta Monday evening. So we were looking at that, and it looks like most of the weather should be out of there. It's just going to be the backlog that could really keep people backed up through that area. So we're going to be watching that very closely for everyone, just to maintain, what's happening at the airport. But you know what? Let's talk a little bit about, how much time do we have? Oh yeah, we have time. This graphic here, Caitlin, if we put it up, I want to just kind of walk through the difference of the type of precipitation that we have when we're talking about cold weather. There's rain, there's freezing rain, there's sleet, and there's snow. And it all depends on the layers that it has to go through from the clouds, where you have your updrafts and your downdrafts. And your updrafts are when the winds come up and it reaches the the moisture in the cloud. And then depending on how cold the clouds are, the down is your drop, if you will, your raindrop. And then it goes through certain layers of the atmosphere, and that's what produces your certain kind of precipitation. Then throw in another factor, your ground temperature. All right. So you have rain. which goes through the upper levels, which are cold. So you see the blue at the very top of the box here, if you will, right under the clouds. But then it goes through a warm layer, and that's what we typically have here in Florida and southeast Georgia, is we have the warm air aloft, right? And so when precipitation goes through that warmer air, it comes down as rain, and that's the majority of it. Well, freezing rain is when the ground is cold and it's coming through a cold layer, and then it's hitting that little wedge of warmer air, but it freezes when it hits the ground, or it freezes at that level of the atmosphere, and the ground is so cold that it has that freezing effect. Sleet is very similar, except it happens higher up in the atmosphere before it comes down to that cold layer of the ground. So sleet is awful. I grew up in Dallas. I went to college in Colorado. We had these types of weather situations where it's so cold, but it's colder almost than snow. So then you have your snow layer, which is pretty much cold from the bottom of the clouds to the ground. And it allows that snow fall to come down and make an impact. And Richard and I had a good conversation about this the other day, about an inch of snow equals about 10, oh shoot, I'm gonna mess this up. An inch of snow is about a tenth of an inch of rain. So it's pretty crazy. I need to make sure I'm right there, but I'm sure Richard will be like, no, Michelle, you're wrong. But I'm gonna check that for you, and then I'm gonna make sure I get it right tomorrow. But I think tomorrow, Caitlin, good news, I think I'm gonna have someone from our sister station in San Antonio join us right here on the Weather Authority Weekday Show to talk about the preparations that they're doing in Texas. And we have some video for that too.
Milk, bread, bananas, got the tequila last week.
A potential winter storm could be on its way this weekend, and Austinites are stocking up.
Snacks, things I did not have to use, heating or anything electric for, like I got crackers, cheese.
The impacts of 2021's winter storm, or as Kayla White calls it,
Snowmageddon,
left her scarred. She's making sure to be better prepared this time around by getting gas and groceries days in advance.
Find food during that time when everyone's trying to search was kind of scary.
Randall's grocery store says local stores are shipping in extra product and high demand items ahead of the weekend. They're also extending receiving hours this week to bring in as much product as possible. Some stores are already seeing empty spots on the shelves.
Stock up some for the potentially bad weather over the weekend.
David Viviala says his driveway is on a steep hill which freezes quickly. He ran out today to make sure he was covered.
We may not be able to get out and to get anything for a couple, 3 days till it thaws out, the first of the week. So we wanted to be sure we had everything, we needed.
So that was in Austin, Texas. I grew up in Dallas, and we had ice storms all the time. And what would happen is it would literally shut the city down. I mean, shut it down. There was no snow equipment. This was way back in the 80s when I grew up in Texas, and it was a big snow. We had a snow day from school, but my parents still had to go to work. So they would leave, and we'd be left behind, latchkey kids playing outside in the ice. But I hope those people are prepared. It's very similar to preparing for a hurricane, right? You got to have all your essentials. You want to make sure you have your flashlights and those folks are really taking it seriously. And we ran something earlier today on the morning show from Atlanta, even showing generators, Ace Hardware, people going to Home Depot, and just making sure they are well taken care of, because warmth, you got to stay warm as well. So we'll continue to follow that, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have one of our sister station meteorologists join us right here to talk about the preparations in San Antonio. Meanwhile, let's take one final look at your 7-day forecast. I'll be updating you fully at noon on News4JAX.com, as well as News4JAX Plus and on Channel 4. But here is a look. We have some warm weather ahead of another round of freezing temperatures starting on Tuesday. Rain comes in on Sunday. All right, thanks so much for tuning in today to the Weather Authority Weekday Show. Make it a great day.